Hi, everyone.
Nice.
Happy Wednesday morning / afternoon / something or other.
Wherever you are.
Wherever you are in the world. Hi, you guys. Hi, Maria. Are you coming back later? You're going to watch later? Okay. You don't have your witch on.
I know.
What the heck?
I put my witch on.
I know. Here, I feel all dumb now.
Hold on.
No.
I got my witch. I got my witch.
I'm going to have my witch in 2 seconds.
I'm not. This isn't my theme. I'm just a witch.
No, not.
So Christine made us all witches.
All my wicked witches.
Oh, you wicked witches.
All my wicked bitches love me.
Craziest thing is, I did this last week, and I guess I didn't hit the save part. I did it the day I was talking about it. I'm like, wait, what happened? No witch. I changed everything.
Let me tell you about your witch, Michelle, because first I did the one that you couldn't see the face, and then you said you wanted a face. So yeah, and so it turned out so good, right?
I did love it. I absolutely love. I changed everything. Did you see it? I changed all my stuff.
It's so pretty. Are you putting it up right now? The one with the face?
Yep.
Okay, well, I'm gonna wait till people see.
Then
I'll tell you a story about who's face.
Jakey5 says it's 5:30 p.m. in the UK. See, it's evening. See, and the Dandelions and Daisy says evening. I'm like, it's like 10:30 in the morning. Hi, Connie. Hi, Jane Doe. Hi, Diane. Search and rescue.
You all know I've been working on that app, and so I've been working pretty closely with the developers, and the developers are in India, so they're so 13 hours. Yeah, I'm up pretty late at night because I have to go back and forth with them quickly. So
you're staying up late and then sleeping during the day? You're like,
no, I stay up late and then also then I also
just never sleeping
too. No, I just been staying up pretty late. I'll stay up probably till 2 and work because when I need things changed back and forth quickly, that's when they're there. Okay. But then I'm up at when I take the kids to school around 8, so then I'm up from then on.
I can't imagine when they need different edits and things, when you have to make the changes and whatnot, you have to do it almost on their.
Yeah, so we have right? We have I don't know even how to call it. We have an area, a work area online that we can instantly see what each other is doing, and we can work on it back and forth like that, which is really convenient. But yeah, but it's late. It's always pretty late. But I work from home, and I wouldn't really have it any other way.
Hi, Mel Mac, America True Crime.
There she is. Look at how pretty we is.
Oh, we got it.
Love it. She gave me hair and a broom.
Do you know whose face I had to use to make it look like that? Was Teresa. Put her so that it's bigger. Make her the one in the middle.
Who? Whose?
Michelle's. So people could see the witch closer.
Okay.
Oh, that only helped a little bit. Anyways, it does look like her, and I modeled it off of Angelina Jolie.
Is it really?
Oh, it is. It looks just like her though.
Oh, I love it.
That's pretty cool.
It is. It's so cool. I absolutely love it. So does he. It's just. Too. I got purple heels on and shit. I am happy. Look at that.
I dig it.
I do.
I love
you did your thing, babe. I
like
Teresa's though too. You got the green in there with the boobs. I'll take it.
How dare I try to cover Teresa's boobs?
Yeah, she tried to cover the boobs, you guys. It's ridiculous.
Well, now I know you're
I see, Dub.
The dog was funny though.
I'm not judging. I just thought you were a different kind of person. That's fine.
No, I'm not. And I was like, how do you not know me by now?
All right, so the boobs are out.
Oh god.
I like it.
Cool. Yeah.
Hi, LFT.
Hi, everyone. I'm not really looking at chat. But good morning. Hello.
Okay, I can turn my camera back on. Unless should we stay witches? I don't know. I feel like we should have done this a month ago.
You want to come up for a little bit? And I did it anyway. You want to come up for a little bit?
You know what? I don't know if I can actually. It's a little bright over here.
I may have
to stay a witch.
I'm keeping mine for a while.
I'm a bot.
I'm keeping mine.
Christine does amazing work.
Yes, she does.
She makes even the witches look good.
Yes, she does.
See, yeah, I feel like I'm all blurry.
There you go.
Yeah, it's just too. I know. I'm wiping my screen. Like, let me see if I can make myself less blurry if my screen's clean.
No, it's on your camera. You need to like spit on your camera.
I need to spit on it?
Well, it has a streak right there. That's what Lexi says.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like hazy. Like
Yeah,
I have a filter on.
It's a glare. That's called a glare.
Is that what that is? No. Right,
that's a glare.
Forget it. Forget it. I'm going back to my witch.
Use whatever fancy fucking word you want. That's called a glare, okay?
It's called Run your witch filter. Hi, BG.
Lo-fi.
Oh my goodness. I feel like it's been a while since we were. I'm not listening to you anymore, Christine. You're just making fun of me.
Teresa's got the grassy and blur on.
Punksy's gonna watch on the TV. Oh goodness. Okay.
Oh
yeah,
boy.
Michelle, you stay on camera then. So all the beauties right there. I'll put you back on solo mode, and we'll be good to go.
Oh, wonderful. Great. Michelle's drinking a lot of this week. Billy's are taking over everybody's life. It's just not okay.
He's suspicious. It's like I just joined. The first thing I hear is I need to spit on it.
You've already found your home, my love. Hey, sis.
Yeah. Like I needed a little context for that one.
Oh my god.
And it's only Wednesday, guys. It's only Wednesday.
I know. Well, so Friday I didn't go live because I had the Halloween party, or not Halloween carnival, not a party. And that was I feel like I'm like I don't know. I feel like I've been going like nonstop.
Oh, we have since like June.
Yeah, you're always going nonstop.
Yeah,
mama.
it is. It's educational around here. It's daily life hacks mixed with true crime.
Right.
Oh, we figure we'll let you guys get
Try
in.
a
We'll
little spit.
Just put a little spit on it.
All it needs is a little spit.
It just needs a little spit. Isn't that like an old thing? Just put a little spit on it. It'll be okay.
You guys have these conversations. Leave me up here like this. I'm bright red.
Oh goodness. So I feel like there's like so much that's happened and yet nothing has happened. Is that like weird? Because I feel like there's so many things happening in cases, but there's zero resolution to anything. So it's like there's nothing. I don't know. There's nothing.
Like a lot has happened, and a lot has happened. I mean, only alone. I mean, I know the whole entire world right now revolves around Delphi. Like, what else is even happening anywhere?
Oh, I don't know. I'm all in Quentin. And then Debbie Collier's son is like making the rounds. He's like pissed. So
she has a son?
Yeah. Hi, Crafton and Kim.
I missed that part. Hey, Crafton and Kim.
What's going on over there? It's so embarrassing. Lots of bits and bobs. So I think that Delphi is definitely taken a huge center stage, obviously, because it's such a big, deal.
It's a huge deal.
There's still not a lot. There's just not a lot of information that goes along with that big deal. So it's like, it's created like a whole whirlwind of like new speculation, which I think is kind of crazy. But then I'm like, here I am speculating. So I'm like,
but I think it's worthwhile speculation, like on a different. I mean, it's on a different level than redissecting the Kylie video again. Like reaching into Richard Allen's life is like.
Oh, this is something brand new for us. I mean, no one even.
Of consequence, not just a theory. Like he just got arrested. Like it's brand new,
And we're getting some type of like factual, in a sense, information. Like everything with this case so far has just been, the chief or the sheriff talking in a mini interview saying the same lines over and over. We get nothing. So I feel like at least there's something to look into now. Someone to check out and all that good victimology stuff.
Hybrid Pisces, how do I get a hold of you? I will get a hold of you.
Do you know how I feel about Delphi is like, so when they arrested Kagan, I was like, this is not satisfying. This doesn't feel right. There's, what is going on? There has to be some ulterior point to this. And now that they've arrested Richard Allen, I'm like, more like this feels better. This feels more right. It doesn't feel complete to me. Like it doesn't feel finished, but definitely I feel like it's feeling more correct than it did before,
Well, I feel like they're definitely headed in a direction now that for years I've been like, where the heck are they even going? because it just seemed like they were so stagnant and nothing was happening. And hybrid Pisces, I totally believe this too. So I would love to hear your thoughts. And here's the lovely Brittany going to come up and give us her 1.5, maybe 2 cents, depends on if she wants to share the whole thing. she may be like, I'll give you like 1, but I'm gonna keep the 2 for my own channel.
Brittany, you got $1.
Hi,
Go ahead.
Britt.
Don't listen to her.
Hi, baby. How are you?
How are
Good.
you?
How are you today?
I'm doing good. Doing good. What are we talking about?
Right now we're just talking about Delphi. We kind of just we Christine gave us some life tips on what we need to spit on, and then we moved on to Delphi.
Everything. What doesn't it fix? What doesn't it make better? No.
Yeah, hybrid Pisces, if you want to come up, let me know, and I'll drop the link for you. I don't know if you're comfortable doing that, but you're welcome to come up and share whatever you want to share. If you don't want to share it publicly, that's fine too. I know everybody's like, I want to hear it. So we just kind of started talking about Delphi and kind of where we're going, where everything's going with that. And I do feel like this is the beginning of something much, much bigger with Keegan Kline, Tony Kline, and now Richard Allen. So here's my big thought process on this to begin with. Keegan was working some form of deal over the summer. They go out to the river. They're looking for evidence. Something leads them to Richard Allen's home. And I've heard a couple different theories on what that was, but we're going to go, something leads them to Richard Allen's home. They do come out with evidence. Sis, you want to come up? Okay, hold on. I'll drop the link for you guys if you guys want to come up.
You posted a community post today that made me super excited about something. I'll share it when you're done.
Okay. And then, they take him in, they charge him with 2 counts of murder. I'm struggling with the fact that Indiana does not have degrees of murder. So there's no like 2nd degree, 3rd degree, you know what I mean? Like it's murder, or it's like other things. There's no degrees in murder. So are we sure that he's BG? I mean, I feel like he is.
I mean, you could be charged with murder in Indiana for being an accomplice to the murder. Their next person's charge would also just be murder. Like,
right.
The fact that it's murder, the way I take it is he did it.
I do think that he did it, but I also think that someone else was at least in the know. Someone else at least knew, if not actively hid something, or somebody else knew at the time when it was
a bigger
happening.
Picture surrounding
that. That's how I feel. That's only my feel. But
that's a lot for one person to carry out. A lot. I've always felt like there was multiple people on the scene.
Not even just carry out. Look how this is prolonged the way it has. Typically, that only happens when some certain type of people either are involved, connected. You know how that goes.
So I don't know how I feel about like all the like far-reaching conspiracies, like about like politics were involved, or this, or motorcycle clubs, which I'm not saying they're not, and I'm not saying none of that was involved.
Motorcycle club.
But yeah, but I just don't feel like that is something that like motorcycle clubs across America for all of time have been involved in criminal activities. So so either they were or they were not involved. And then there's like people that say the PED rings, and there's people that say the judge. Like, I just don't know how much I believe into those far-reaching theories.
You don't think it's you don't think it's a ring, at least, of some kind, like a group of?
I do.
I definitely do.
I think that if that was part of it, that only became part of it. Like, I don't think that it was like the center of like why it happened. Like, there was nobody sitting in a room like taking, like, whoever gets the longest straw has to go do it. Like, I don't think that was anything. But I think that like there's a possibility that after the fact, like if it was filmed or anything like that, that could have been part of the crime that was committed after the fact. But I don't think that anybody like planned it in a circle and said who's going to do this part and who's going to do this job. Right. I don't really feel like that.
I think it was I think it was orchestrated as in you buy into and you pay for the opportunity to do certain things or to get certain things. And I think there's something that's bought and then this happens.
Yes. Yes. Me too.
Look at some of the people that are now that were part of law enforcement, that are actually related, that are now fully into politics now, who at the time were involved in, law enforcement more or less. Look who's being interviewed, talked to. I believe even one might have been arrested. I have to double check that. I was reading about it the other day. It's kind of funny. Some of these names are starting to pop back around again, and they were all part of this original investigation. And they were part of a couple other, not high-end media cases from Indiana, but they were a part of these cases and kind of conducted the case and the investigation almost the same exact way as Delphi. It's just these cases were like, for instance, one was a house fire, another one was a rape, and, Delphi just happened to hit, the true crime.
I think that, something like that could have been, so I hear what you're saying, but I think that like, if that was involved, it was more like that was a motivating factor for the actual person. Like, as in like the way that Ted Bundy was like, this is why this happened. I had an addiction and, it started young and I was addicted to porn and all this kind of stuff. Like, I think that possibly this person was a sick person and liked seeing sick things that, and if that was involved, it was something like that, where it was a motivating factor for that individual, but not necessarily a group.
Like a setup type of thing, like an arranged thing.
That's just how I feel about it. That's, just, I feel like this person did it because they're a bad person,
I'm torn in between. Was it initially set up type of situation, or did these people who became part of this maybe supposed corruption type deal or ring came in after the fact, like kind of what you were originally saying, Christine? Like,
I feel like Keegan. Okay, so for me, with the way that the timeline works, I think that Keegan Klein potentially was the one to set it up, like stage the scene. He talked to the girls, told them to be there at a specific time, kept in contact.
I could be on board with that. I just totally get on board with that. Yeah.
Richard, and told him, they're here at this certain location. You can find them on the bridge. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was the one that said it. But I see him as this vile little incel type dude that wouldn't be capable of carrying out something like that. He's just gross in everything he's about. And then, that's how I see him. He didn't leave the basement or something. And then you got the Richard guy who was hands-on. And I don't know. I want to know what they find on his computer. I feel like his computer is going to be the key to everything.
I'm really interested in seeing the affidavit.
Oh, yes. So the 22nd, they have a hearing deciding if they're going to release that or not. I actually think they probably won't if they don't.
I really hope that whoever wrote it was really one of those verbose detectives, like the kind that wrote Looking for Scouts, like the affidavit, and not one of the like short and to the point ones that wrote those boring other ones, like all the juicy details.
Yep.
Hi, Sis Vicious.
Hey.
What do you think?
I'll apologize in advance if my voice starts cracking. I have been sick for a couple weeks. I'm almost over it until I start talking a lot, and then I sound like a gremlin. So if I start getting growly, I apologize.
I apologize to everybody. I just sound like a gremlin.
It's been so hard to get rid of. I don't know. Well, I ended up getting bronchitis, and I lost my voice for like 2 weeks completely, and so it's come back. And the cough is gone now, but I just can't get my voice back all the way. It's the weirdest thing. So anyway,
I hope you feel
apologies in advance. Yeah, no, I'm fine. I'm just, I was warning you if it gets obnoxious. Trust me, it is for me as well.
So. You're fine.
I hope you feel better.
But,
so what do you think?
I know that, okay. So I don't disagree with the group. I definitely, I believe that this was a collective effort. I do think there was a plan. I do think that this was set up because I know that the police haven't said this, but this crime to me has very, very intense sexual undertones. And as much as I hate to speculate, I just don't see how it's not. Because if it was just, I've seen speculations, oh, well, what if they saw something, whatever. I mean, you could push them off the bridge, like where they were found, the body staged, posed, things taken. It just doesn't fit for me as like a random occurrence or just some one-off. I mean, for one, even for, like someone mentioned, Ted Bundy, thrill killers, it's typically the overpowering of someone that gets that thrill, right? It's the control. There's not a lot to gain with a small child. And I feel like if you were going to do something like that, you're just walking out in the bridge, see these people in an opportunity, you have a 50% chance of one of them getting away that saw you. So I'm not buying the one person aspect because yes, they're small, but it doesn't satisfy like if it was just a thrill kill for control for me. But it also doesn't feel. It just doesn't seem. It just doesn't make sense that it could be so random because again, you have one person trying to control two people. I mean, yes, they're small, but they're not like little kids. I mean, there's a very real possibility. So I just can't see someone going into that. I think it was a setup. I think they were set up to be there at a specific place, at a specific time, and fight me in the comments, I guess. But I just don't see. I don't see a way that one person did all this, and I also don't see a way that it isn't sexual in nature. So that might be something we find out. I could be dead wrong, but that's my belief. But one other thing that bothers me, and I'll say this and then I'll shut up, but this wife, okay, maybe this is just me. If my man uses a new dryer sheet or has a new deodorant, like I know about it. I'm observant, and maybe some people aren't as observant as I am, but you're not going to convince me in this tiny little town, this huge case, huge story, this poster plastered everywhere, all over the news. You never recognize the jacket. A word.
Totally
you never
agree.
recognize the hat. This
I'm
man works
with
in
that
a retail store on Front Street. How did I say that metaphorically? How did no one? I don't see how they haven't gotten tips on this guy just based off the image alone, the walk. But again, the wife. You're laying next to this dude every night. You're looking at this poster every time you go somewhere. What the fuck is wrong? Excuse me. I'm sorry.
You're good.
No, you're fine.
Handle it.
You know what I mean? Though it's like I
think that definitely that you're totally 100% right. And I think that like I think that we could pinpoint that the time when that wife either thought or was suspicious or knew completely was the day of that press conference with Carter saying, he could be in the room. We've interviewed someone close to you or someone, I think like that is when that wife knew, was already suspicious, confirmed it that she knew, and it's taken this long for the wife or the daughter, which either one, but I think that that's from then on, they were just waiting for the next thing. And I've heard the rumors that she's the one that tipped him off and stuff. I don't know if that's true, but she had to know. I totally agree.
Well, she can get it too then. But, you don't recognize the pants, the walk, the face, the voice, the hat, the jacket, none of those, set off any alarms for you. I'm not buying that. And I'm not saying that she was either involved, but you're either the dumbest woman that's ever lived or you're just desperate, I guess. And there's not a shred of me. I'd turn you in so fast.
You're out
of my house, out of my life.
I feel 100%. I feel the same thing. Like if that was my father or my husband, anybody that I'm that close to, like intimately close, I'm gonna know that's him probably instantly. And like you said, If not by then, you knew by the time of that 2019 press conference because, I mean, and think about this. Carter said, the person has changed since the murders. Sorry, y'all. I'm trying to get out my door. He did. He lost a ton of weight. You can't tell me. I'm sure that his attitude and personality went through some changes too, especially if this was the first time he's done anything like this.
Well, I'm sure he was proud of it. And what's sickening too is I can't remember if it was the grandparents or what, but they had went into that store and he printed all those pictures off for them for the flyers and didn't charge them after this. Like, sick fuck. I'm sorry. I just, it just makes me so sick. This case for me I've been following this case since it very first happened. And for whatever reason, there's cases that you don't get that much information or traction on for a long time. For whatever reason, for me, and I don't know if it's how quiet law enforcement has been, but it just seems like it's been so much longer than 5 years. And 5 years is a long time, but it just feels like, it's been almost 6 now, but this just feels like half my lifetime. I feel like I've been thinking about this case, and I was so relieved. And, I do wish we'd gotten a little bit more from the press conference, but I'm sure everyone else does as well. I respect how tight-lipped they've been because I think that they're maneuvering in a way that it's going to be ironclad. And I hope that is the case for the family, but it's just been so slow moving. I think it just feels like a lifetime has gone by.
Mm-hmm. I actually lost hope. I did. I'm not even going to lie to you. I was to the point where if you'd have asked me, I would have said, nope, we're not going to see anything. Oh my God, y'all. They put flowers out where that boy died in front of my house.
Oh, how sad.
Remember the wreck I told you guys about? Hold on a second.
Okay. My thought here is that if it was one, he obviously had a weapon that they were very afraid of. If he did have a gun, which he had a concealed permit, if he did have a gun, then they would be a little bit more afraid to try to leave because obviously he could get to them. Plus, they are younger. But I mean, shoot, Libby was so in tune with recording that's just crazy to me still to this day. But
yeah.
I do think that there's a ring of people. I do not think that we're looking at just Keegan, just Tony, and just Richard Allen. I think that there's a ring of people. And when it comes to the wife, here's what I'm going to say, because I know people get really pissed off in social media. They're like, leave the family alone, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just going to state my opinion and I'll leave it at that. I think that the wife knew or had an inclination of what had happened. I don't know if she specifically knew the details of what he had done and knew 100% like he confessed to her. I don't know that for sure, but I think that she did. And I was talking about this the other day with somebody, and it's not just the voice. It's not just the walk. It's not just the clothes. It's all of it together that I cannot imagine she didn't go, that's kind of weird. You know what I mean? Like, at least kind of think about it. My part for her, hold on. My part for her is that she's known this guy almost her whole life. They were high school sweethearts. They got married at 19. I think that she thought, I know this guy better than anybody, and there's no way he did this, even if it does kind of look like that.
I could see it. Yeah, absolutely. You know what? I changed my mind. Maybe being that deep, being with someone that long, possibly I could be like, you know what? I know all the weirdest shit that he does, and that's just not it. Like,
well,
right?
Okay, so there's like things about this arrest that are like bringing up old rumors and like rumors like about the fire pit that they dug for the fire pit at the grandparents' house, which maybe they also did dig for the fire pits at the Kagan's grandparents' house. But then it comes to light that they dug up the fire pit at Richard Allen's house. And back in like early on, there was a rumor about PB, and I'm just going to say his initials now, but anybody that's followed this case knows who that is, that he was involved because of the truck that was left there and the no keys situation, wife having to come and stuff. There was those rumors, but part of those rumors were that PB had checked himself into a mental hospital after the murder, that one of the searchers had to check themselves into a mental hospital because they were so traumatized by what they seen. And I forget where I read it or saw it that it was Richard Allen that checked into like treatment a month after the murders. And so it's
I heard
like,
it was days.
like,
That's what I was just asking Hybrid Pisces about in the chat. I've heard it was within days. Okay, so
I don't know the exact time. I'm coming with all the facts right now. I don't know the exact timeline.
No, that's okay. That's why I literally was just asking her that and she said that she's heard conflicting reports. I wanted to know if that was true because I've heard conflicting reports as well, like an alcohol rehab. That I heard that.
I think that also that the vehicle they were asking about that was at the CPS building, I think that was also possibly Richard Allen's truck. Because
Amber ATS, she posted a community post this morning that they in a search, they gave a search warrant and they took a truck.
They did.
Yeah, they took his truck. And I think that is possibly the vehicle that they were asking about that day at that press conference. Because
what was the vehicle that was at that old CPS building? Was that
what I'm talking about?
Okay.
I think it was possibly his truck.
Was it a truck though?
I can't remember. I thought it was a white car.
They were looking for a truck that day because if you listen to the scanner audio, all of like Lafayette, the ISP and stuff, they were all calling in like truck. They were looking for a truck like that day and the days following. They were looking for a truck specifically. Every truck they found, they would call it in and they would clear it or not clear it. But I think it was possibly his truck that was there that day, and that's why they took it.
Maybe.
There's a lot of scanner audio that like has not been like posted anywhere because it's like full days and days and days worth. But it's interesting, the stuff that is out there is like specific days. It's like the 13th, the 14th, the 15th, all the way like through the 19th, like some consecutive days. And then there's also like the 22nd of February. There's a few days in March and then one day in April. And like, why are these other days included? Like, I haven't had the time to listen to 24 hours worth of scanner audio, like to see like what was going on those days, but I bet there's something in there that is related. I don't know who or how we have those scanner audio, but there's a lot more than that's on like YouTube.
Wow. We need to know that. And what Hybrid knows too. Holy.
Let's not forget that KK has been telling people he was there with the red Jeep to get his dad. And so this is another question I had. And I was going to go back and double check. Does he say that he was there to get his dad? Or he was there with his dad and or does he say he was waiting in the red Jeep? Because I was trying to remember if he actually specified dad or if we all just assumed dad. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, but I don't remember either.
I think he said to pick up dad, but I could be wrong. Let me double check. I have it somewhere.
It feels like
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, he kind of threw his dad under the. Well, I wouldn't say threw him under the bus necessarily because I could give a fuck about. I should stop cussing. I could care less about any of them really, but he really went all in. As soon as he got caught, he just gave the whole spiel. Gave him the phone, gave him evidence. I mean, he deleted stuff, of course, named his dad. You know what I mean? So I
That's what I'm telling you.
I don't think he named his dad. He's been in there for a while. Like I think that he was.
This was before with the child pornography thing, because remember with the phones, they asked who else had access to it, and specifically his dad.
I put us right.
Yeah, but I'm trying to remember if he said that he was waiting in the red Jeep with his dad.
He did say his dad that was the only other person that had access to the phone, but they were like trying to get him to say like that he had access to those accounts, and he never would. He just said he had access to the phone.
Gravity, I've already talked to her. I think she is going to do this. She wants me and Teresa to come up and talk about it, Zav, to deep dive Delphi.
Oh, okay.
Do you know that this is like the first time that I've because Delphi, the case was so guarded. Like you go in a group and you don't know what the hell you're talking about, and you're gonna get your ass chewed. Like you're gonna get laid across the comments forever. And so it was put offing, like to the point where like you didn't really want to discuss it. You were scared to discuss it because like the diehards that knew everything were gonna be mean. And so this is the first time that I've ever like in depth like actually discussed it.
But see, here's the thing: it's like
these cases. Oh, sorry, Teresa.
No, you're good. I was just gonna say, Hybrid was saying earlier, like it's a very hard case to try to get into late because there is so much that's happened over all the years. For me, it's a case that I've dove into and then stayed away from, and then dove into and then stayed away from, and this is like the case that I swear like Christine solves every other week. So
I love now. What am I supposed to do?
I know she was like, "What am I going to do with my time if this is already
back to Watts, everybody?"
Here's what's interesting with Delphi, like relative to a lot of other cases, though. Like take some of the more current ones, like Quentin, Kylie, those sorts of cases. There's so much that's out there. You hear so many people talking, so many interviews, and so it just creates these information vacuums where you miss a day or two, you don't know what's true, you don't know what's fact, you don't know what's speculatory. So with this case, though, there's been a lot happening around the case or on the outskirts, like with Keegan. They were asking about the profile, but other than that, there really hasn't been a lot of definitives released by LE to go off of. So it's been a lot of piecework, I think, for people trying to connect dots. And I think that's what's so interesting is because there's all these pieces outside of the case itself, but law enforcement really hasn't given us much. And they still haven't, really.
This is why we're doing this. They don't give us anything.
Right.
Yeah, but it's just so different than a lot of the cases that we've seen, especially as of late, where it's just an overabundance of information. You can't decipher it. Here.
Sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna say here. Gosh, why can't I ever remember his name? The guy that passed away. I don't know what you guys think about him.
Logan.
But yes. I can never remember his name. I don't know what your guys' feelings are on them, but that's a rabbit hole. Keegan climbed a rabbit hole, the shots profile and stuff. But there's just not a lot of material in this case. So I don't know. It's just interesting.
So about Ron Logan, I think that they were trying to. I think that Ron Logan had some knowledge that he didn't give up ever, not ever. Mm-hmm. He never gave it up. He died with it because I think that the reason they pressed him so hard and like sent him to prison at like 80 for a probation violation was because they were trying to put the pressure on him to like crack, to like, rat somebody out or crack or give it up. And he just never did. Like to his like criminal credit, he never ratted him out, But
well, I also wonder if he was involved and if he's involved in this circle of people, did he purposely leave so that the area would be open and it's private property, or and I don't even know if I actually think that Ron Logan has to do with anything, but I'm just saying if, then, because there's the weird thing about his cell phone pinging like right near the girls, and that kind of bothers me a lot, but like, was he like, holy crap, like this is not what was supposed to happen? So like now I'm totally out. I don't want anything to do with this. But I don't know. I'm not sold on that he is involved.
I think that like it's possible that he like had some knowledge of what was happening on his property because it's on his property and took off or he was giving somebody an alibi to like even have a reason to be there, because in his search warrant it says that like he asked his cousin who to give him or to drive him to the fish store or whatever. And it's like that is the only thing that gave his cousin any reason to be there. That like Ron Logan just gave somebody an alibi of why they could possibly have been around his house that day because he asked them to give a ride, Well, without Ron Logan saying that, why was that person there?
Well, here's what I think. And whatever. There's no shame in the truth. Okay. That's the church I go to. And so you have two girls that are found on your property, but you're setting up an alibi. Why are you setting up an alibi the day before, for one? That's extremely suspect. And two, to continue trying to lie about it over because you were driving without a license. Who knew that you were driving without a license? It's not like
who even cared?
Who even cares? But why are you setting that up the day before? You ended up not getting caught. Why is it so important to have this alibi? Because you don't want to get caught driving without. You didn't get caught. What are you talking about? And so you just made yourself look just so weird, in my opinion.
So that
that
whole situation is so weird that makes me think that that it's worth looking into further. Like, who was that person, and why would he do that? There's no reason for him to have gone to prison for a year or whatever it was at that age for probation violation. There's just zero reason for that.
And just the landscape of his property, that was another thing, because it was so difficult to traverse, I guess. I just felt
I wonder about that, because none of us have seen it, and like I feel like that's like one of those areas that, like, unless you really know, like, what.
There's a video.
There is, and Steffa has that video. Steffa was we were gonna do a Delphi live with Steffa, and it ended up getting postponed, and now here we are. And she was out there, and she talks about like the incline on it's an absolute like ravine, it's like almost straight down, and it's hard to maneuver.
But what I think is interesting too is his property butting up right next to this bridge. Yeah, it might not be a place tons of people frequent, but it is a public place anyone can access. So wherever this happened, wherever the actual murders took place, law enforcement has said that they believe the girls were moved and then staged in this location. Well, you're either doing it on public property that someone could just pass by, or you're on this guy's property. But again, to be moving around someone's property like that, doing one thing in one spot, moving them over here, you either have to know for sure you're not going to get caught. I don't know. It just, I'm not saying he's involved. It just doesn't add up for me. Either way, it's yeah. But that must be the video, Teresa, that I saw, because I do remember some creator going around. I mean, and it is difficult.
Well, I think a few of them have. Sorry, I'm saving some pictures from the news that I wanted to show. So I think a few different creators have. I just know that her and I had an in-depth conversation about how hard it was for her to like maneuver getting up and down the hill, and she's, in decent shape. So it's like, how hard would it be for somebody else to be going up and down this big ravine? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm gonna pull it. So a neighbor, I don't know if you guys have seen this. So on HLN, one of the neighbors had taken pictures of when the search warrant was served on when the search warrant was served on Richard Allen's. So I wanted to show you guys those. Hold on. You guys keep talking. I'm going to keep saving them real quick so I can show you guys.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, Sleuth. He said they had him say down the hill, supposedly, at the beginning of this as they were doing the investigation. Somebody else had said that Gray had told them, or Gray had read something where it said that Richard had admitted to being there that day. I missed that. I haven't seen that. But I had heard that, not from Gray's show, that he supposedly had admitted being there that day. And I know that they had talked to him and supposedly had cleared him towards the beginning of the investigation. And the other rumor was that they had him say down the hill before they released the part where it said guys down the hill. When they had just released down
in the search party that same day.
I've heard that too, but I have not seen that confirmed that he was actually in the search party.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. That's what I heard, that he was in the search party that day. And you know what? Also, I'm sorry, Michelle, what?
No, you're good, baby. I was just going to say, I think you guys probably already talked about this. He made pictures, I believe, for Libby's funeral. I'm sorry, I couldn't get that out.
Yeah, for her aunt. Yeah,
I didn't
charge her. Was it for the funeral or was it for the search?
It said for the funeral, the article I just read.
Yeah, it was for the funeral.
He did it for the grandma.
So, and then also, like, during the search, one of the searchers, Eric Williams, went and he talked to, which podcast person was it? One that's not really like, he does a ton of good research, but he's not really well known. But he did like an interview for the podcast, and it's like an in-depth conversation, like an hour long, talking about the search that night. And he was saying about how there was tracks, like from like an ATV or something, like, and he was describing the tread in the tracks, and that there's obviously like not people like going through this part of the woods often, because you could clearly see these tracks, and he's a hunter, so he noticed the tracks and he described the pattern and stuff. And so I think so on the footage that we have of the search, like the drone footage that's showing the helicopter and stuff, there's two like certain areas of it that, and actually I have that footage pulled up. I'll show you guys if you want. But
yeah, do it, please.
The drone footage actually pans over to Richard Allen's house, literally right there on the screen, like not close by, but it pans in that direction. Like you could see where he lives right there. But anyways, on the video, there's two specific areas like that I've watched this over and over and over and over. I've studied this case for years. There's two areas on this video that are of note. One of them is by the is where the helicopter's hovering by the cemetery where they ultimately found the girls, and the other is on the other side of that. There's a road that you can drive underneath the bridge, or like drive real close to the bridge. I don't know underneath, but real close to it. And it like kind of takes you down this like curve that is right almost on the edge of the creek. And they have some search trucks and vehicles parked there, like at an angle. And they're right here, like by this area. And I think, this is my theory, is that is where the down the hill part possibly, like that's the hill that was used either to cross the girls there, and then they ultimately crossed to the side they were found on, or to bring their bodies back and then place them like 50 yards or whatever, 50 feet, whatever it was, off of the edge of the other side later in the night. But it's like directly in front of where the bodies were found on the other side. So I think that has, and that's the side that like Richard Allen's house, the side of the creek that it would be on. You know, there's like a road that drives almost directly.
Do you want to show it?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Sure, I will.
Okay.
Let's see.
And also, let me dispel a couple other rumors while we're here. There's pictures that are like, look at this red blob, and look at this, and it's a body, and it's a leg, and it's a porky pig, or it's a bear, and all this kind of stuff, you know. And it's like, no, it's not. It's not. Those are vehicles on the footage, and it's not anything. It's not a body. It's not anything else. Don't change the contrast. You're not going to change it. That's what it is.
It's not a body. It's not a bear.
Those pictures and stuff, like that speculation about the pictures and the pixels and stuff just really bothered me specifically as a graphics person, because you cannot look at that kind of stuff and give conclusions like that, you know. Okay, here it is. Sure.
JPL said, is there more video we haven't seen? Are you talking about from Libby's video? There is more, because we've only seen a couple segments of it, and it's actually just like frames that they kind of put together. And it's not even when he's talking. So when he's talking is a different part than what you actually see him walking. He's not talking then. And then there's 48 seconds total to that video. And from what I've been told, the rest is kind of a little bit more gruesome. Obviously, I've never heard it, so I don't know that for a fact. But that's what I've heard, is that the rest of it is rough.
I need you to put the video in T.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so let's look at this. I'm going to make it big screen and tell me if you can still see it. Is
I
it
can
good?
see it. Uh-huh.
It's in the center?
Yep.
Okay, so if you look here, can you see my mouse?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Richard Allen's house is right here. This is the street that drives up to the house, and then it's this, like the second one. The first one's right here. The second one is right here. So Richard Allen's house is literally right where my mouse is at.
Okay.
And this is from the footage of the search. Also, another thing about the footage of this they say it's helicopter footage. It's actually a drone taking all this footage, and it was, the timing of it is they had already found the bodies at the time that at the very beginning of this footage. The bodies had already been found. This was actually streamed live on Facebook by the news station, and it started at like a 12:50 or 12:30 or something. The timing of it is the bodies had been found. They're in the places that they're like hovering and the cars and parked and stuff. It's not the beginning of the search. It's they'd been found already. But so this is it. It's going to pan over to like where Richard Allen's house is at. See, so his house is right over here, where my mouse is at. Oh wait, sorry, right here. And do you see this? Let me back up a few seconds. Ouch. This was like the staging area, I think. Go forward. Sorry, I lost my place. Hold on, let me go back. Okay, here we go. Sorry, I went too far. Okay, so here's the house over here. Here's his house. And so here's the Monon Bridge. Can you see my pointer still?
Yep.
Okay, so here's Monon. This area, this right here where my mouse is at, this is a road. Do you see?
Uh-huh.
That's a road that like you can drive there. So the place that they have, the helicopter's hovering, here's the cemetery. The girls were found around here. And right around here, this area is where those trucks are parked. Let me go find the trucks and see if you can see them. Which side are they looking at? It's hard to tell, like, it's hard to get your bearings about what they're looking at right now. Is this where they show the truck? No. Where's those trucks at? Here, right there. See right here?
Yep. So that's the private drive, right?
Yeah, okay, so there's, and then right directly across is this area right here is in front of the cemetery. And there's the bridge. The cemetery is right back here in this area. And this is ultimately like where the girls were found, were right along there somewhere. But do you see like how close the proximity of those trucks to? So that's what makes me think that this was possibly the down the hill area. And then this is where the girls crossed, or this is where they crossed to put the bodies over there.
Okay.
And then hold on, when the helicopter footage is, when the drone is above the area that they say, here's those bodies, look hard right here. They're here. This is a vehicle. These are vehicles. There's a red truck, probably like a search vehicle. And then the other one is a marked car. And in the scanner audio, you can hear them explaining to somebody else like where they're at. They say, you'll see my truck. We're down by the creek. There's a marked car next to me. Where's those?
Just out of curiosity, I'm curious what you guys think, because this crime is so extreme. It absolutely repulses me to my core. But it just seems like such a stretch and such a dramatic crime for this to be the first time.
Oh, I agree.
Again, that's my theory, allegedly. But is anyone else feeling that way? Because I just can't imagine this being a one-time first round thing. It just seems too extreme.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but this is, do you see them right there? Those are two vehicles. There's a red truck and there's a white car right here. And they're right in the place where they're looking.
Yeah,
for
I
those.
can
You see
see
the headlights? They're headlights. So people like zoom in on those pictures, like there's a body here and stuff. There's red, it's gotta be. And it's like, no, those are vehicles. And here's the cars over here parked on the other side. And there's just the drone looking for whatever. But see, and if you look to like where the searchers are looking, it all correlates. This is right after the bodies were found. The bodies were still probably in place. They're getting people down there to like whatever, investigators, detectives and stuff. And they're all staring right up at it, the area.
Mm-hmm.
So those are all my rumor debunks right here.
That it's not somebody taking pictures. It's actually the headlights of a car.
Yes. Well, specifically right there, the headlights of a car, because I do think that there's over by the cemetery, you can see flashes of the camera, like probably where they found the shoe or whatever. You can see flashes of the camera in certain parts of this video. But that specifically, like where they zoom in and they say they see bodies and stuff, those are vehicles right there. And that's why it looks different.
Okay, so
I
Miss
say
Italy,
my opinion, but it's not really opinion.
This video is so you're sure this is drone? This is actual drone footage. This isn't the helicopter footage.
Correct. Right. I could show you. Yeah. Hold on one second.
Oh, darn Ursa.
Can you take my screen down for just a second?
Yeah. One second. Hold on. Let me yell at the dog real quick.
Yell at the dog.
She's unsupervised, so she dug a hole. I could already see that, and now she's barking at the neighbors that are working in their backyard. But I do agree. I think that this is not a one-time thing. And then the video that everybody's talking about. So there's a couple different videos. There's the clips of the video that Libby had taken. We've only seen a couple seconds of that video, and it's a total of 48 seconds that she had recorded. So that video we were talking about, I'm not sure which one that you're 100%. He was a hunter, yeah, and he had, like I said, he's had his conceal weapon permit.
So this video, so I think like on the mobile view, I think on like a mobile view of this specific video, it shows the time that it ended or it started. I forget. So this just says it was live on. Oh wait, right there. Tuesday, February 14th, 11:58 a.m. is when it started. Was when they started streaming this, and the video is about 35 minutes long. So it ends around 12:35. But even in the description, it says that we're over the search area where two 13-year-old Carroll County girls went missing. 2 bodies have been found in the area. At this time, the bodies had been found. Those vehicles that are in those places were there because the bodies had been found, not because they're looking or searching. So this is where that footage came from. And it's 30.
But how do we know it's, why are you saying drone though, not helicopter is what I'm confused on.
What's the title of the video? Is
helicopter, no?
No. Where did it say? Did it just say on the other screen? Hold on, sorry.
So he was a CVS manager. So I think that people are also trying to figure out like that he was a pharmacy tech. From somebody who worked in retail, you could look up my licenses, and I have a lot of stuff that I've never actually done. But as a store manager, you have to have certain licenses in your store to be able to run those areas. So he may have been a pharmacy tech, so that way he could help out in the pharmacy when needed as a store manager or as an assistant manager. But he was and this is why he was in. I mean, the pharmacy techs. I don't know how many pharmacy techs that are out there printing pictures, but he got his pharmacy tech license in 2018, and I think that's big. Oh, sis is gone. What happened, sis? We lost you.
I don't remember where I saw that it's a drone, but
okay.
I know it's a drone. I don't have it where I could prove it to you guys.
Okay,
So
that's fine. No worries. No biggie. I just wanted to know. So anyway, so he was a manager at the CVS, which is why he most likely got his pharmacy tech license, was so that he could obviously help out in any area that needed help in the store. So he was a shift lead, but I think he'd gotten promoted. He was a shift manager.
Or because he was in training to be a pharmacy tech. I don't know when he started working at that CVS, but like I know that in those kinds of places, even if you are a pharmacy tech and somebody needs to be checked out and you're there, you have to do it. Like
you have to do it.
Yeah, I mean, you can't just be like, I'm a pharmacy tech, I can't check you out.
Well, typically, if you're in the pharmacy, you're not working in other areas of the store because the pharmacy that kind of keeps their.
Oh well, you've worked in Delphi, Indiana, in a small little tiny town before.
I'm just telling you how retail works.
You're telling me how retail works.
Had to take a call and got yeeted. I'll be back in chat with you. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, he's a shift manager. Either way, if he's the manager, or he could have just easily switched over and started working in the pharmacy. There's better money in there typically, but as a manager, he would have to know different areas of the store. So that's my understanding, is that he was he worked at CVS. I thought he worked at CVS then, but he was just an associate. NorCal Jim, am I wrong there?
Well, I've seen his pharmacy license, and he was like in training definitely like in training in 2017. And then he got like, because you have to do like, laboratory or hours or whatever, and then to get your actual pharmacy tech license or whatever. But he had like a training certificate or something before.
Yeah, I thought he worked there before. I thought that's where before that I know he worked at Walmart.
Maybe. I heard that, yeah.
So, hi Max 2002. Hi Mrs. Troy. Okay, so what are we looking at right now?
Just the footage from that day.
It's okay, NorCal Jim. Don't worry. He started there right around that time or right before it. I know that. That's all I can really remember.
Something else. I'll show you guys one other thing.
And then I'll show you the pictures from HLN where it talks about, where they have the pictures from the neighbor.
Here's the file of the scanner audio that we have available for it that is in relation to the Delphi case. Look at how much of it there is. So here's like all the files from the search from that day from Carol Fire. Carol Fire had the 14th, the 15th, and then the 22nd. Like what was on the 22nd? And then the ISP has, look at all these days. It's the 13th, 14th, 15th, all the way to in order, all the way to the 22nd. And then March 10th, March 13th, March 18th, and April 28th. Like what do all these days have to do, I don't know. I haven't listened all through it, but there's a lot of scanner audio.
I've only listened to what's been kind of captured and put on the social medias. I've never actually sat and listened to anything straight from there.
I kind of want to do that. Oh.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. The day the footage was from that Christine was just showing is from the 14th, right after they located the girls' bodies. Somebody asked about if the girls were staged. From my understanding, one was up against a tree and the other one was laying down. So I don't know if, and then Sluice, you said something that kind of made sense, like posed and staged. I don't know. Is there a difference?
So let me tell you another thing that I think is interesting. You know how people say about how like, oh, there was this in the trees, or there was a skeleton, there was a head of a ram or something. I don't know. They say all kinds of a skeleton head of an animal in the tree, all this weird stuff. One of the searchers had specifically said that they thought that they looked across and they thought they had seen a deer.
Yep.
And that's why the searcher used their phone and used the magnification to like zoom in and see. And that is ultimately how the bodies are found. Yep. Well, when in my head, like when I hear that, like he thought he saw a deer. He didn't in my head, he didn't think he saw a deer laying on the ground looking at him from the side. He thought he saw a deer, which would be uprighter than a laying on its side staring at him or whatever it was, whatever he thought. But in that, when I heard that, that's what made me think that anything about the posing, that they were possibly upright, for them to think it was a deer. Which I hate talking about that. I'm so sorry.
I know.
All of Delphi for what I just said. I apologize sincerely from the bottom of my heart that you even just had to hear that out of my mouth. I am sorry. But that is what I think. But I apologize.
We're all thinking and wondering exactly what you're saying. So
sorry.
We need it.
This the biggest thing that I can say that was released about the crime scene itself is in Ron Logan's search warrant. Other than that, there's been a lot of speculation and a lot of talk. There were some released text messages from the very, very beginning. And I would say those would be the two main things that would give an idea of how the girls were actually found. Oh, Gravity, thank you. Sluice, Abby's phone. Okay, so this is another interesting thing, is according to Abby's family, she did not have a phone. I have heard from some people that were close sources to them that she did have a phone that she wasn't supposed to technically have. Now, whether she had that phone then or not, I don't know. And I cannot confirm that. I cannot say that's 100% fact. But according to her family, Abby did not have a phone. Libby did. But according to sources close to the thing, Abby did have a phone. So you can take that for... what was missing? Did we hear... I'm trying to think of how I heard this.
I thought they confirmed it was... They confirmed that it was a sock and a pair of underwear.
Okay, thank you. I was like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of where I heard that to be able to say that out loud.
I think so. Honestly, I think that I saw that on Reddit, and okay, before everybody goes, oh, Reddit, there's a lot of information in Reddit for the rest of you that don't actually want to read it or want to just like close your minds off.
Reddit has a lot of good information on this case.
Somebody on Reddit
Not a lot of
said
cases,
that
but I'm just saying,
they had the unredacted, like, because we know. Okay, so I believe that there was an unredacted version at one point. And then you can even see on Reddit where like the bigger subreddits and like they're like, everybody, please stop sharing this unredacted version. Here is the redacted version. Stop. And then it went away, the unredacted one. But there's a lot of like not documentation, but there's a lot of people saying it that the unredacted version was out there. And somebody that saw the unredacted version said it said a sock and underwear.
Yes. Okay, thank you for saying it, because I was like, I don't remember where I actually was told that. So let me see. Okay, so this is from the neighbor on October 13th. Hi, KW. On October 13th, the neighbor was taking photos of the search happening at Richard Allen's, and they were basically there all day long. He is currently at this moment sitting in his wife's vehicle. So he's sitting in like the passenger side of his wife's vehicle there.
He hadn't been arrested yet?
No. This is October 13th.
I'm surprised he didn't off himself, honestly. I really am. I'm real surprised because he had a lot of warning and his life was about to get demolished. Like,
well, there was supposedly somebody who went to CVS on the 14th and he was there and he helped her. So yeah, like he just went to work the next day like nothing.
He had a lot of Connie Simonson, Reddit is a forum online, I think she's asking about. It's a website, Reddit. Yeah, he had a ton of forewarning that this was about to happen. And
okay, so this is when he's standing out front of his wife's car. So you see there's two officers there, and then you can see this little highlighted guy right here. So he's standing out front of his wife's car. They said that his wife kind of had left and come back. This is the car they towed. So this is not a truck.
Oh, it's not a truck? Mm-mm. Is that one of the Focuses?
I could not figure out what kind of car this was. My husband.
It might be a Ford Focus, and like look at that hatchback part. It might be a Ford Focus because there was a lot of talks about in the scanner audio. So if you like listen and then you have no life like me.
Well, this is why I was trying to remember what was the car that was found at the oh my gosh, I can't talk. The old CPS.
They never said. They just said a car. And then
wasn't there like a red car somewhere? Another car was unknown that was like they believed it was like a work utility vehicle remember because we speculated back
there was like a head-on collision or there was a hit and run, not a head-on collision, I'm sorry. There was like a hit and run right around the time of they found the bodies. That it was in the general time area. And they were also like looking for there was a lot going on. There was a fucking lot going on that day. So I don't know if like the reports of like the red truck and all this other stuff came from that they're talking about in the audio, or if it came specifically from the search. I don't know.
Okay, right now we're doing Delphi. Can we review the search warrant? Yeah, I don't know if I have that on my computer. I'd have to grab it. Do you have it on your computer, Christine?
I have everything.
I know you do.
She has Delphi.
Reddit is like the Twitter for nerds with pictures. I actually Reddit over Twitter.
Is Twitter with curse words.
I tried my best to tell people the format of Reddit. Thank you. Sorry, I'm doing school pickup, so I'm trying my best.
Oh no, you're good. No worries.
No, Reddit is amazing if you're sleuthing. If you're
astute enough to like look and like filter through what you're looking for, if you're smart enough to do that, then there's tons of information there.
Yes, the format is a little difficult, but I promise you it's worth it.
And you also have to have like a filter to like be able to distinguish when people are telling the truth or being a troll. Like you have to have a ton of common. Listen, if you don't have a ton of common sense, just don't try it. Don't Reddit. because
I
you're probably
totally
not
agree
that
with
good
that.
at it.
I
You have to have a lot of common
problem
sense for
with
that
how to
place.
respond on Reddit, like how the threads work, but not as bad as Web Sleuths. Web Sleuths is like a foreign language to me, and the way that however I can't, it's hard to function on there.
That is really hard because they have so many rules. And what's great about Reddit is the only rules are the ones that the moderators post. And on Web Sleuth, they have a ton of guidelines and rules about what can't and the way you do
so
initials,
hard
and
to
it's
navigate
too much.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's too hard for me. So Reddit is better. I actually like Reddit better than Twitter. And I'm just getting into like the whole TikTok and the whole I feel so old.
I can't.
I'm so anti-Instagram. Like I really don't do anything on Instagram.
I have an Instagram, but I don't know how to do anything on it.
I use it for sleuthing.
But I'm a Twitter junkie, big time. And TikTok,
I do a lot of resharing on Twitter, but I'm not. I don't know. I got the YouTube and I got the Facebook, and I'm like, I'm good. TikTok, I can sleuth on TikTok, and I like getting down the rabbit holes on TikTok with just random ass videos. But I posted my very first TikTok video the other day, and it was literally just so I could have the freaking babysitter in Quentin's case respond to me, because I was like, you're not answering my questions in your chat, so I need you to like visually see this. And then it got like a ton of likes. I was like, that's kind of cool, I guess. I don't want to post another one because it's weird. But
it's not enough time. I don't like
Vita is awesome at TikTok. Allie Erickson, perfect TikToks. I'm just like, I don't know. I'll just come on here and talk about what I got.
Maybe I'll see if they'll give me a lesson in it. It's just, I like longer videos. I don't throw a bunch of information at me and not give me any details. I can't do that. I'm nosy. So
I know I'm a real like video snob too. Like, don't fluff it up. Like, just get to the point. I don't.
That's when I do enjoy TikTok. I'm not going to lie. But then you have like a creator like Plunder, who you could watch.
I love
sometimes
Plunder.
it's 13 minutes, sometimes it's 25 minutes, and sometimes if you're extra lucky, Britt, you get a 49-minute one, and it's like full of
and you can like listen at normal speed, or you can speed her up, and she still is totally distinguishable.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
I mean, you can still do it in 20 minutes if you want.
You can do it in any way.
You speed it up, and she'll say, just speed me up if you don't want.
She has timestamps.
I love her.
If you're a member, she puts timestamps.
Oh yeah, she's like the big sister of true crime of our.
I know. That's how I feel about Plunder. I totally agree.
I love her. Yeah, I love her so much. I totally respect her.
She's solid.
Exactly.
Consistent, she's solid. She works hard. She just sticks at it. You don't have to you don't have to worry
drama.
like. Yeah, you don't have to worry
is my line.
Fight. You don't have to worry that she's going to give you bad info. No. You know that if she's coming out, then you know that this is what's happening and this is the good stuff. I know. I have
a friend that's friends with Plunder, and that's like my claim to fame.
There you go.
My friend is friends with Plunder.
Yeah. It has like a direct line to her, so I know.
She created the Kylie line for me, and she did it perfectly, because I just felt like we were all kind of struggling with that. Like, what do you do with it? And the way she reports on it, I think is, I don't know. She's in my opinion, in the true crime world, all to herself too. She is completely unmatched in her whole way. She just sits down and just does her research from her laptop and goes, I'm like, oh,
and
Plunder.
What a happy surprise that she is the physical person she was, because she was just a voice for so long, and I thought she was like Sherilyn Cato's sister or something, and then pop up, she's like this.
You didn't know who she was?
No, I didn't.
Oh, I see. I totally knew who she was.
Professional.
She was the whole figure thing with the little head.
Total glow. I love her.
Okay, but can I ask a question that I've been wondering for years now, and somebody tell me? She was one of the first true crime people I come across. What is the logo? What is that? Is it a teapot? Is it a coffee pot? Is it
it's an interview lamp. It's an interview lamp that's like in the interview room, like an interrogation.
Oh my God.
With the string hanging. It's a lamp.
I just thought I've been wondering forever what that was.
Teapot.
She got a bunch going on. She's very settled over there. She's like got a candle and good things happening and music and.
But I know what logo you're talking about. It's an interrogation room lamp, like the spotlights on.
I've always wondered that. I was like, what is that?
It's just my design's eye helping you guys out here. I know,
you know
what
that
that was.
she had a channel and it had like 15,000 subs and they took her channel down.
She came back. She came back.
She did. She wasn't going to. She was so upset because she'd worked so hard on her channel.
Why would they take her channel? She does nothing wrong.
Right.
This was like 2018,
because
2019.
you know how YouTube always changes their guidelines and tries to fuck everybody up, and they did. They
oh god!
But
then they demonetized her this last year.
So
and she had to fight for like months to be able to get it back. And I'm like, how does out of all the channels in true crime, they demonetize plunder? Like, give me a break.
Yeah. She should be the only
generous though that she when all that was happening, she like made like this like key book. I don't know, like this reference page and shared it with other creators of like things that specific hot words, keywords to avoid to not get their channels messed with and stuff. Yep. And I mean, it was useful. Like that was something that we referenced, that sheet that she made. She's so generous, like with their information like that. She'll tell you. Oh, and do you know what? I do want to bring this up, but do you know what I heard on It's a Criming Shame the other day? And this is the most logical explanation I have ever heard about, and it makes the most sense, and it absolutely has to be correct, about why people don't get notifications and stuff. And they were talking about when you subscribe to so many channels and you hit notifications for all of them constantly, which a lot of people do just to show support, but the people that they only will give you like, they'll only deliver like the first 10 or 20 or whatever notifications before like things go like silent notifications after that. Like otherwise they'd be blowing up your phone. So if you want those notifications to come through for that channel, to just like unsubscribe and resubscribe and do it fresh, you know? So you
need to basically go unsubscribe from everybody, resubscribe to them, and then only hit the notification bell on the channels that you really, really want notifications from.
So if somebody's in here right now that says, I never get your notifications, then it's just probably because you've subscribed to so many people since you subscribed to our notifications, that's just not fresh anymore. They're only delivering like the first however many to you. So if the
most recent, like 10 or whatever.
Or 20, whatever it is. And so they're only going to like loudly like deliver these notifications to you in that amount. So if you want it to stay fresh, just hit the bell again. Unhit the bell and then do it again. Make it fresh.
Oh, you don't have to unsubscribe. Just undo the bell and hit the bell again.
It was just so logical. Yeah, I mean it makes tons of sense. Like that they're trying. Yeah.
All right, you want to read through this? Sis Vicious is back too. So you want to read through this, Christine?
Hey, Sis Vicious.
I just wanted to say too, because you guys are talking about the subscriber. I've noticed, and I started doing a little research about it out of my own curiosity. YouTube has started filtering out inactive subs on various channels because of basically weeding out people buying subscribers. So if a subscriber isn't active on a channel in a certain amount of time, they will unsubscribe people from channels. Because I have channel, and I knew.
That's
I don't know about that. Huh? We know channels.
You're kind of crackly, sis.
In the car. I'll shut up. I'll mute myself.
No, you're good. I just wanted to let you know that you're kind of crackly, but that's interesting. I mean, I have seen some channels that they literally don't
move ever.
They don't move ever. It's kind of weird. And I was kind of like, I don't understand how this channel like literally doesn't move.
How does this channel breathe right now?
Well, and I've noticed too, even people that I know for sure.
I cannot hear you at all.
I can't hear you anymore, sis.
It's straight static and Charlie Brown teaser.
Okay, I'm gonna mute.
Okay, all right, let's go through this.
I don't want to read this. This is like how many pages? Hecka.
Well, just go to the part that talks about the crime scene. You don't have to read the whole thing. Just go to the part that talks about the crime scene. It all does? No, it doesn't. Like this is all
relevant. I'm gonna get all into it.
It don't. Just go to the crime scene part. I know.
Okay, here. Can you read it? Somebody else read it.
I can't see it to read it, so I can't.
Do you want me to read it? Where is it?
I don't feel like reading all this. We can put the link for you guys. I don't feel like reading all this.
If you keep it there, I think I can see it okay. Maybe make it a little bigger.
Okay, I think I can. Hold on. I think I can do it. Hold on. Let me see.
Sorry, I just don't feel like all this. I just woke up, you guys.
That's fine. A call placed using Logan's cell phone produced cell tower data that shows Logan's cell appears to be in or around his property on February 13, 2017 at 2:09 p.m. Although his exact location cannot be confirmed, the tower data shows that Logan's cell phone was in the Delphi area, in the area of the Monon High Bridge Trail. An analysis of Logan's cell phone data revealed a text sent from his phone at 7:56 p.m. on February 13, 2017. Initial exam of this analysis indicates Logan's phone was likely outside of his residence and the proximity of where LG and AW's bodies were located.
Okay, that's an important word in proximity. Because we can't say that he was right there without knowing what proximity means to them, because we don't know. Was he a few yards, a few hundred feet? Was he at his back door?
I mean, they're on his property, so I mean, it's kind of hard to say.
So proximity is not. Okay, go ahead.
An analysis of Logan's cell phone data revealed a text message received by his phone at 10:16 p.m. on February 13, 2017. Initial exam of this analysis indicates Logan's phone was likely outside of his residence. I already read that, didn't I?
Well, no. So see, now this one is
this is the
outside his residence.
One. Yeah, so this is outside of his residence and in the proximity of where LNG and AW's bodies were located.
So what does proximity mean? You know, in the previous paragraph.
Right. So Logan met with LEOs on or about February 17, 2017. While they were on his property, Logan was physically able to get up and down the hill from his home to the crime scene. On March 14, 2017, Logan's former housemate, blah, 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 was interviewed. That person resided with Logan from September 2016 through December of 2016. Blake was in a sexual relationship with Logan on and off for approximately 3 years. During the interview with LEOs, said when she first learned that AW and LG were missing and then found dead near Logan's home, her initial thought was that Logan was involved. She said in her interview that she feared Logan and even previously told her baby's father if she ever ended up dead that he did it, that Logan did it.
So this is that part's not relevant, Swissy.
Okay.
Right there.
On February 13th, 2017, LG's family began searching the area of the trail where LG and AW were initially dropped off, beginning shortly after 3 p.m. LG's family and other community members joined the search shortly after. Carroll County Sheriff's Office was notified at approximately 5:30 that LG and AW were missing. Once the search for LG and AW began, no one reported seeing any person matching the description of the male on the bridge. The FBI, okay. I'm not reading that.
Really relevant.
Okay.
This is talking about. That's not really relevant. So that's really all it says about it.
No, it says
wait, up at the beginning more.
I haven't read this since it came out, so I don't know exactly where it's located, but I know it says more.
Scanning through. I think it's up where right here. Okay, hold on.
Right here.
Okay.
Up.
Wait, up more. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Up.
Okay.
On February 13th at approximately 1 p.m., juvenile victims, LG and AW, were taken to Monon High Bridge located in Delphi. LG and AW were walking the trail, blah, 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 blah. Last contact by 2:13, which was the last contact with LG and AW by cellular device. The victims were picked up by family member, picked up by a family member at 3 p.m., and the victims never met with the family member. Approximately 5:30 was the last successful ping of the cellular phone by AT&T. The victims, LG and AW, were located deceased on February 14, 2017 at approximately 12:17 p.m. at the above listed longitude and latitude. Okay, go down.
Wait, so listen, I think that part's important because there's rumors that, Mike Patty had said that the girl's cell phone was pinging all over town. And then there's talk about the towers and where were the towers and stuff. But wherever this 5:30 p.m., it doesn't say where it was. It just says the last successful ping of the cellular phone. So I wonder where that was at specifically. Okay.
A suspect has been developed of a white male wearing a blue jacket with heavy physical build, wearing a cap and blue jeans. The development of this suspect was made by a 43, I thought it was 48, second video taken on LG's phone, where the suspect follows the victims as they are walking on the Monon High Bridge Trail. Near the end of the video, the suspect speaks to the victims saying down the hill. It sounds as though he is directing the victims to leave the trail they were on and enter the wooded area below. No person has come forward and identified himself as the person who met the victims and made the statement in LG's video. Therefore, it is believed that person in LG's video participated in the killings. Images of the suspect have been broadcast on the news media since February 15, 2017, as a person of interest. They are presumed to have made contact with the unknown male at approximately 2:13 based upon analysis of LG's cell phone, which recorded the video. On February 14, 2017, at approximately 12:17 p.m., the victims were found dead with wounds caused by a blank weapon on the property owned by Ronald Logan. A large amount of blood was, I hate this, a large amount of blood was lost by the victims at the crime scene. Because of the nature of the victims' wounds, it is nearly certain the perpetrator of the crime would have gotten blood on his person and clothing. The location of the crime scene is approximately 1,400 feet from Logan's residence. Logan is 77 years old, blah, 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 blah. There's a there's great work. It was also discovered that one of the victims was missing, that the blank of one of the victims was missing from the crime scene while the rest of their clothing was recovered. It has also appeared the girls' bodies were moved and staged. Based upon my training and experience, it is common for perpetrators of this type of crime to take a souvenir or in some fashion memorialize the crime scene. This right here, whether by photos or electronic or digital methods, that are then downloaded onto computers, storage devices, tablets, phones, iPad devices, or other electronic devices that store digital data for later viewing, scanning, or copying. And this leads really into the whole thing about the possibility of a snuff film. Here, I can hear you crunching.
Sorry.
LG and AW had no visible signs of struggle or fight. During the processing of the crime scene, investigators located unknown fibers and identified hairs, which may later be used for comparison of similar fibers or hairs. And this is where it was talked about that this is potentially animal hairs. And many assumed dog, some assumed horse, because there was there was people there on horseback. And then now we know that Richard Allen had cats. And then now there's a rumor that one of the things that they were looking for in the backyard was the cat.
I heard that too.
Let's see. Okay,
I
think that's it for the crime scene.
I think a shed's going to end up playing a role too.
Well, they said the shed. They said they took out some what looked like clothing, some books. What else did they say?
2019, in that press conference, Carter mentions that he watched the movie The Shack. I don't think he was, I think he was saying that, sending a message to the killer that he knows something about a shed or a shack somewhere. I swear I do.
Well, they used to think that there was that little shed shack that was always rumored to that people thought that somebody had taken the girls there to this shack.
They said that they were killed in a barn.
That's the barn. Then there's the shack. Yeah, I don't know. There some people have speculated that they were taken to the barn that was down there, not too far, and then brought back.
What if Carter said that to what if Carter said that because what if around that time or something maybe he maybe the Allens had gone to that movie or he knew specifically something about that movie.
I don't know.
And that's how he was trying to tell the wife or the daughter that was a signal.
I just think it's very significant because that movie was I mean, it had come out a couple of years even before then. To just randomly bring that up like he did, I don't know. I just feel like there's something more to it.
And the character's name is Mackenzie Allen Phillips.
You're kidding me.
Ooh, big.
Oh yeah,
I
sending
didn't know
everybody
that.
out into the rabbit hole. Well, okay, so let's talk about that. You want to talk about the name? Did you guys see that there was a Rick Allen Hill in the Delphi Facebook groups?
I saw those screenshots.
Did I put him in there?
Somebody actually sent me that this morning in an email.
Yeah, that. So I mean, and the profile's deleted. Rick Allen Hill. So, what would be bottle size that they could have dug up? A bullet, an earring, a rock, or something related to geocache. So they supposedly, according to Kelsey, they had already done the geocache that was at the bridge. So they wouldn't have had to go do that again. That was one of the big things that they were they out there doing that? And she said no, they'd already gotten that one, so there would have been no reason to go back there.
Why is Sleuth Investigate say a bottle size? What said bottle size?
It's part of
I
what
heard that
they
was
said.
a burn barrel, but
There-
I didn't.
There's
hear
a
anything
there was a
about bottle
fire
size.
pit supposedly that was. Let me go back and find that. I wonder if I have.
Also,
the
I think the
screenshots.
sharp instrument might have been an axe. Just my.
Do you really? I
Just
don't.
my theory. Just my one thing I
You
think.
do?
Mhm. Yeah. Well, that's just all I think, but I don't know what's. I don't know. I don't know nothing.
Let me see. 2 bundles of dark cloth, a shoebox, a Macy's shopping bag, photography items, possibly from the shed. There was digging around the
Oh,
shed,
that's
and then
creepy.
the vehicle.
Photography items from the shed. That's creepy.
Someone said equipment. Some said that it was just photos. Others said that it was just items. So I don't know. So that one's kind of all over the place. That was from different sources or different people who have sources close to them. So I don't know which one it actually was. There's a mosquito flying around me.
Well, I heard that they were in the burn pit at Kagan's grandparents' house because they were looking for because he said that they had burned the clothes there. And since these rumors seem to spread or translate to the actual event that happened, I wonder if they were in his burn pit looking for clothes that got burned there.
Well, so then, okay, so if he took clothes, then how did Richard Allen? What was Richard Allen wearing afterward? Then you know what I'm saying? Does he take the jacket?
I think that maybe they were looking in Richard Allen's fire pit for the clothes.
Oh,
even though it was said that it was Kagan's grandparents, maybe they did look there also, but what if they were looking it's just the whole thing about the mental hospital, was it was correct, but it was attributed to the wrong person, So I wonder if they were looking at Richard Allen's for the remnants of the clothes. Maybe
I'm very curious how long this guy's been on their radar.
That's my thing.
When did they actually start investigating this dude?
Burying the body and then covering it up, and then burying an animal and then covering it up so that they get down to the bones of the animal and they're like, oh, that's all it was.
Yeah, but if they have good cadaver dogs, the cadaver dogs aren't going to hit on a dead animal. They're going to hit on a
Who said they had dogs?
I'm just saying if they did. There was an if at the front of that.
Well, disclaimer.
Bottle capsized. I don't know what that would be. Bottle capsized? I didn't see that, Sluice.
That
would be like the button of a jeans or something.
Do you think that this is his first time, or do you think that I'd like to think if he'd done another killing before that.
It seems like he was pretty traumatized after this one, so
it's okay. So I really struggle with finding that this is his first time, only because it seems so calculated, and they say that they left. Son, go in there. I don't want you to hear what we're talking about. He left signatures, right? And then they said souvenirs were taken, that they were staged. Do you think that, unless it was we're thinking and maybe he was instructed, it just doesn't seem like this is the first time for a person to do this that does all of that.
I only think that it was probably Richard Allen's first time because he was so traumatized afterwards.
Do you really? You think it was his first time? I just cannot imagine that somebody would do something. Obviously, maybe his first time doing this extreme, this extent, maybe, but there's no way that he hadn't done other shit that was really bad. There's no way.
Exactly.
This is not your first at 44, 45 years old that you're deciding, okay, well, now's the time I'm going to go out and do some really bad shit.
Yeah.
Like really bad shit.
And not just one person, but two people he unalived.
Yeah, there was somebody in one of the Facebook groups, so you can take this for however you want. It's definitely rumor speculation that said that they had worked with him at Walmart and there had been complaints filed against him and that he ended up being transferred to a different Walmart because of it. Now, once again, take that for what you want, but found it interesting.
Yeah. I would like to think that now that his name is out there, with time, we'll start hearing more and more about him from like those that knew him and grew up with him and all of that. You can't
his flipping wife knew him basically her whole life.
I know.
Do you think that she's just deleted her Facebook, or do you think she's in witness protection?
Oh, I think she's probably just staying with her daughter.
I heard that though, that she was in witness protection. That's probably just a troll.
If it was JD, it was a troll.
I'd be embarrassed too. Teresa and I got. Teresa and I had.
If she was in witness protection, she wouldn't have been her what you call it would have already been down. We lost Michelle now. Now Michelle's gone.
Me and Teresa got into a conversation the other day about I said, oh well, the wife's thing is gone, and look, I think this is her, sock account, because and Teresa's like, well, why would she need one of those?
Why would she create a fake account? And she's all, I don't know, have you not heard what's happening in the world? And I was like,
her husband just got arrested.
I meant like you only need a sock account if you're trying to go into places that you want to try to get info for and you don't want people to know it's you. That's what.
And I said, well, she obviously can't use her actual account. I said, and if something happened to your hubby, because it was a similar name, but just not the exact name. And I said that Teresa would be in there as Tessie Stevens, would be reading every single comment in every group.
I was like, don't be telling everybody my name. Now I can't use that one anymore.
I don't know if you guys can hear me or not, if the crackling's any better, but just on that note, if that's the case and she is using sock accounts, where were these investigative skills before he was named a suspect? Where were these investigative skills when you were sleeping in bed behind someone suspected of double homicide of children? Where were all these investigative skills when you didn't recognize anything about this man from the poster, the walk, the voice? I don't know.
Well,
That's why I think she has to at least, like, I know people say, oh, leave the family alone, but I just don't see it, dude. My man could dye his hair, be painted blue in a crowd of 100 people facing backwards, and I'd recognize him. You know what I mean? It's just like, if you've known someone for that long, you know them in and out, and I just don't buy that there just wasn't a feeling, a thought, suspicion, or anything that could be him. I don't know. I could be completely wrong. And
I think it's possible that she knew for like, not knew, but suspected for. I do think that it was like she suspected but wasn't positive, and she can't get in trouble for that, because hopefully, as long as she eventually did go to police and say so, I am suspicious.
There is the rumor
now
that she turned on him, but I just don't think that's true. The other big speculation that was in the groups was that he had gotten in trouble for taking a tool from his neighbor. Did you guys see that?
Uh-huh.
I was like, I don't know. That just doesn't fit for me, because where's the charges of that?
Whatever they found, when they did the search on his home, they found something of evidence directly related to the girls.
Oh yeah, and then when they tested it, they had it like expedited, and then they got it. Whatever the souvenir was, and we've heard sock and we've heard the one pair of underwear. We've heard both of those, so he had to have kept that.
No, but what if it was a digital souvenir? What if it was just pictures or something digital? It didn't necessarily have to be a physical souvenir. That's the other thing that goes into the whole snuff part, because if you have them working together and you have Keegan taking off for Vegas,
yep.
Is there something there that was sold that there's some form of photos or video, and I hate to even imagine that that is out there, and it's been out there for almost 6 years, but the timing of that is very weird, and to me, very possible that they sold whatever was taken.
I always thought it
Maybe
like an
Keegan was
article.
just the like videography or the photo person that day because his client photography. Maybe he was just the sick fuck that did all the photos and stuff that day.
Well, I think it's worth at least noting too, they haven't said for sure what, if anything, the girls might have had with them. And depending if Keegan was involved, it would be my bet that it was under the guise of the shots profile, right? So if they thought they were going there to meet this cute boy, you know what I mean? Who knows what they might have had or what they might have been thinking they were going to do. So
I always thought like an article of clothing. Like, I don't know. I always thought like an article of clothing, some type of something from each one of them. What's a signature? Like, they said 3 signatures. What would that be? Because that bugs me too.
Well, whatever he
there's
took,
no way of knowing.
however he did it, and however he staged them. That's 3.
So it would be like something that he would leave at every one of the things he did. Like
it's just some kind of detail that could be attributed to him specifically.
Well, like the Night Stalker, like he would always bite his victims. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I was thinking, can we though?
What?
I don't know. It just I get like what it is, but it's like three of them.
Well, I mean, their feet could have been crossed a certain way, or there could have been a string on their wrist, whatever. Like it was, they found 3 significant things.
So sick. Oh, it's so sickening. Oh God.
Did they say 3? I remember there was multiple. Yeah.
3 signatures.
I heard that, or I don't know who. Like I think one of those leakers was saying that like the staging word was specifically in like. They said the word tableau. How do you say that word, Teresa?
Taboo?
Tableau. TABLEAU or something. And that specific word references like a religious. It has a religious like a significance, like a religious tableau or whatever. And like I was wondering, like, were they kneeling or like? What about it was like posed in a way that they would use the word tableau because it has a religious undertone. I wish somebody in chat, I'm sure, is gonna tell us about the word.
I'm googling it right now because I only know of taboo.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what like
taboo
is.
TABLEU, like that kind of spelling, tableau.
That is so bizarre. See that if that's the case, that would make me think even more that it was for, I hate saying this, but filming purposes. I really hate, I mean, it's so awful. I know it's morbid.
Hey, it does have something to do with religion. It just doesn't give me like an actual definition.
Wow. I see it. It says, hold on. A group of models or motionless figures representing a scene from a story or from history.
Yeah, however he supposedly staged them was supposedly like
that's the word.
I guess
that meaning of that word is specific to me. Yeah.
So when they say staged, am I the only one that kind of takes that as they weren't alive when they were put in that place?
No, that's what that means. Yeah, that's what that means.
Yes.
That they placed him. Not only did they didn't just drop him on the ground or throw Shanann in a hole, like they specifically carefully placed the way their bodies were found.
Okay, so take that into account that we had searchers all night. That would lead me to believe even more that there was more than one person.
Yeah, and there were those early reports, or what was his name? The guy that is the husband that is a firefighter had said in those texts that Abby was all covered up with like branches and leaves and stuff, and she had her arms crossed over her chest, and
I've heard that.
Like she was all covered up and like positioned just like a little doll. I think is that where that word came from, and And then I don't remember what was said about Libby, but then like putting that in conjunction with like the way that those leaker texts were saying that they were posed in like a religious tableau, which would mean their bodies were positioned in a way that was like significant, which in itself could be a whole signature, you know?
Sorry, I was digging still. Okay, so there's a difference between staging and posing. I'm trying to like see exactly what that would mean in this specific circumstance. And then the other big part would be, and we've heard this since the beginning, that somebody had to have alibied him, which is going to throw me back to the wife again.
Oh yeah, that they needed that one piece, you know?
Right. And the problem was that the person had an alibi, and they speculated that it wasn't even like, it wasn't an alibi like the person specifically lying and saying this person is right here with me. It was like my husband was out mowing the lawn and then he came back in. And you know what I like, and that's just an
Maybe
example.
she said they were at the movie The Shack.
Oh my
I'm just
God.
wondering, like, that'd be fucking weird. But yeah, so that's exactly what I'm trying to say here. Is they were staged, they were not posed. So they were staged to look a specific way versus posed to be presented a certain way. Is that what you're trying to say, Sluice? I'm just trying to make sure I get I have the understanding.
See, they're really staged or they were posed.
I just want to know what you think the difference is, or what that would mean for this type of circumstance.
The way I take it, like, I think a staged, if they were posed, it might mean more like the bodies were arranged in a specific way for whatever reason. But I think staged could just mean as simple as the murder didn't happen there. The bodies were basically moved and placed there to dissuade law enforcement from the actual crime scene itself.
Well,
It was a stage.
Okay.
No, I haven't really taken it.
That's what I would take it as. And I also think it's interesting because they didn't find the girls until the next day. We know when they were supposed to meet for pickup, but with them not being found, we don't know really what time this was. Yes, them not meeting there kind of points to something happening, obviously before that point, but we know
that the video she took of him is at 2:13. And that her dad didn't come there until 3 to pick her up. So the other thing is there was the speculation that the people had searched that area supposedly, and the girls were not there prior, which is what led people to believe that they were moved. Okay, hold on. I found this article from the government sites. So, staging occurs when the killer manipulates the conditions of the crime scene in order to make it more difficult for the investigators to identify the killer, who may be a logical target of an investigation. Common staging efforts attempt to make a homicide appear to be a suicide or an accident. Other staging scenarios are designed to make the victim's death appear to be sex-related homicide or the result of an accidental fire. That goes right into Debbie Collier. That's interesting. An actual example of staging is described. Okay, so then posing involves the killer's positioning of the victim's body as a photographer would position a subject for a photograph. Common purposes of posing are to leave the victim in a sexually degrading posture to shock the finders of the body or
I heard
police
that too.
investigators, or to satisfy a psychological need of the killer. That's interesting.
Yeah, that one. I agree. I heard that one.
So they would be posed then, not staged? Is that what we're thinking? And staged would be the wrong word they used in that affidavit?
Maybe, did Lee Care say staged in a religious tableau? I don't know. I got that from somewhere, so it was definitely said. But what was I just thinking about that? Sorry, I lost it. It'll come back.
I think they could have used the term interchangeably because we don't know too much about how they were found, positions, anything like that.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like it could have been used a little interchangeably. I mean,
I feel that goes back like to how they said like they thought it was a deer, like because a deer wouldn't be like ground level. A deer would be standing up. And so that's why I think that there's truth to that posing or staging thing, whichever one we decide.
Well, I think both are at play here too. If the bodies were arranged in a specific way, you know, that's one aspect, but it could also be staged because they did, you know, kind of in line with what I was saying, you know, to dissuade law enforcement from the actual crime scene itself, the bodies were moved there, which would be, in my opinion, a staging. So it could technically be both.
Yeah, I agree with that. And then I wonder, like, to the point of like how they said that Abby was covered up and stuff, like what that plays into it. Like it doesn't really seem like they were trying to hide the crime scene or hide her body. Like that's never been like the impression I got from that. Like it was just that.
No, if they were staging it, then they were trying to make it look like something else happened. That's kind of the whole thing, is like they're trying to make it so that it looks like it's something other than what it is, or that a different type of person did it. No. Gray Hughes said it too. Kim says, maybe this has been discussed, I'm sorry, but remember the scene in the movie, in the TV show True Detective, staging the victims with the deer antlers or thorns? It's been a while since I've seen it. Yeah, I remember that. That was a good show. First season anyway. The rest all sucked.
I heard that specifically about this crime scene, that there was antlers. That was the word I was trying to get earlier. That there was,
so do you think that there was actual antlers?
No, I don't know about all this extra stuff. I don't like all that extra. People say there's dolls hanging in the branches and there's a stuffed pig or a stuffed bear, and I'm just not even going to go there. I'm not about it. I'm just, let me read the warrant or whatever, the affidavit. Let's just not do all that.
So do you think
extra.
we're going to get, do you think the court's going to release it on the 22nd, or do you think they're going to keep it sealed?
I think they'll release it. I hope they do. Well, I mean, they have to have a really excellent reason not to. So
if they're going to be prosecuting or arresting other people,
that'll be a big
reason. If it's going to leak, if it comes out and there's stuff in there that, I mean, there might be,
that'll be our signal that there is more. You know,
that's what I think. I think they're going to keep it sealed, because for them to still be asking for tips, if it was an open and shut lone wolf crime, they'd be thinking they had their guy. They have to suspect other people are involved. So, I mean, right?
We were talking about Carter's specific wording of that this morning in our stream chat, and we had said like his wording of it, like he never said that this is Bridge Guy, but he did do an interview with one of the news stations, and they had said, do you think this is Bridge Guy? And his answer was, that we had to convince the judge with the evidence and to get the warrant, and without it, the judge would not have signed it. So he answered in like a usual Delphi cryptic way, but basically said that without the evidence supporting that he was the killer, the Bridge Guy, then he wouldn't have gotten the warrant. So I think there's still more to the story. Oh, and then they said, well, how did you come to those conclusions that you put into the affidavit? And Doug Carter said, he's like, it's a really good story, and I can't wait to tell you, but today is not the day.
Yeah, that's so weird. But he does say at the very beginning, the first thing when he's up there after he's done sniffling, he talks about I'm sorry, his sniffling really got me. I was like, ugh. But that's a whole nother thing. But he talks about that they want to ensure, and I'm not going to quote it correctly, but they want to ensure that any persons that are involved are arrested. And that was, to me, like, you don't think this is by itself. And he also thinks, it's weird because he thinks.
Wait, Teresa, 1 second. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but Search and Rescue Canine Mom, hello, good to see you here. Okay, go ahead.
He thanks the detective that's working on Keegan Klein's case, and he thinks, like, how does he say it? How do they say it? He thinks something about like around the globe.
Oh, no, he says he's like this.
No, I'm just kidding.
He said that like the community, like the support of the community and the country and the world now, even, or the globe, whatever he said. I think he was, well, okay, I don't know, but he's so cryptic about everything, but I think he was just referencing like reach that this case has had.
They've been so
he specifically talks about leaving the tip line open and basically that they want to make sure anybody involved. And then if you listen to Mike Patty when he's being interviewed in one of the interviews after, somebody asked him, like, do you think that anybody like knew? And he was like, well, I don't know, that would be pure speculation. And
you know what, Frederick, Colorado Police Department, take note, okay, of Delphi, Indiana.
It is a small community, and Mike Patty's like, sure is. Like, he thinks that there are people that know.
Well, and that's what I was about to say. They've been so laser focused on absolutes in this case. Just no funny business anywhere, which I do commend and respect as badly as we all want more details. But I can, as small a community as this is, I just can't get over the hump in believing that no one has at least called in a tip on this guy before. So I think he would have had to have been on their radar at least for a tip. But I think they got some big aha piece of evidence linking him to it. But I think he would have had to be on their radar. And that's sort of what I suspect with others that may or may not be involved or who they think may or may not be involved. I think they want to have a big aha piece of evidence to move in on anyone else.
Well, they had interviewed him before. Right, T? They had interviewed him.
Yeah, they cleared him at the beginning.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But that was the thing that supposedly he had told them that he was at the trail that day. So they had him say the down the hill, and it didn't match or whatever. I know this is going to sound really dumb, but I know it would probably cost an extreme amount of money, but like there's less than 3,000 people in this town. Like it couldn't have been that hard to get these men's DNA.
They said they got thousands. Like
right.
They said they tested so many.
Which made me go to that.
Makes you think that the DNA that they have is not human. Okay.
Yes.
That's why we're friends.
Well, they've also said they've gotten thousands of tips too. So that's what I'm saying. In a town that small, someone had to have recognized this guy.
I know, but thousands and thousands and thousands of tips. Okay, so let's like break that down though, because the only tips that were coming straight from Delphi, because really the nation think there's web sleuths everywhere, tons of people calling in all kinds of theories, but like how many specific tips called in by neighbors and people in Delphi were there? You know, probably you can whittle that down to like hundreds, you know? So was one of those in relation to Richard Allen? And maybe. Did he have an alibi? Probably.
Well, that's the thing.
A ton of those tips were not relevant. Poor guys. However, did you see that they arrested somebody in California that had been leading this huge like grooming network, and that some of the victims were from Indiana? Did you see that? That was not that long ago.
No, I didn't see that.
Oh gosh, yeah, it was a huge deal, like on the news down here, that this guy had been like hundreds and hundreds of girls, and he was grooming them specifically for like, and it was like a ring kind of situation, and that some of the victims and some of the photos on his phone and stuff were from girls in Indiana in those towns.
Wow.
Find the article. Where's the article?
Well, you'll have to pull it up before we go live on Friday. I have to actually hop off here soon because I have to go pick up the little from school. But we'll do Delphi on Friday night. Hybrid Pisces wants to come up. I'll see if Stepha's busy. We'll see, what we can actually come up with.
Let me say it right here because I found it real quick. Listen, a California man accused of grooming more than 100 children across the world. A 24-year-old man was arrested Tuesday after a months-long investigation revealed he had been posing as a young girl to speak with dozens of children on the internet to get sexual abuse material. And Davis is believed to have used the moniker Lizzie to lure children and groom them. And then it says about where the victims were at. It had it said in Indiana too, but I don't see that in this article. So yeah, it was a big deal.
Where was he arrested at in California?
In Sacramento County.
Oh, fudge.
Yeah, and I forget the towns. They specifically named the towns that they were from, and it was from like there. It was from Indiana.
Wow. Yeah, I think this is going to be big. I think it's going to be way bigger.
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, and the name Lizzie, that's weird.
No, we didn't get to talk about Quentin and Debbie, but I'll try to put something together for both of them. I mean, this is just, there's just so much to this case. It's just hard to.
Indianapolis and Kokomo was where the kids that they found.
Kokomo's right there.
Yeah. See, told you.
Okay. All right. I have to hop off. I appreciate you guys spending your Wednesday morning / afternoon / some of you evening.
Thanks for coming, sis.
Here and hanging out. Yeah, Sis Vicious. Thank you for hopping up and sharing your thoughts. And we'll be here again on Friday night, and we'll see what comes of it.
Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate it.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
Okay. Bye.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, do you want to do your little? Oh no, I guess she already left us. She's like, all right, I'm out. See you later, Christine. I'm like, all right, you guys. Thank you all so much. We'll see you in a couple days.